Hello. We're back. Our camera decided to die this time, so yeah, we were talking about my opinion on hospitals. Just saying, but I'm trying now to think of it differently, and then obviously I'll be able to talk about the experience after. But yeah, so the next video we wanted to do was support networks and pet hates. That was it. So yeah, we've been quite fortunate. Like, we've got a good support network round about us.
Yeah.
Like, I've obviously got Cameron, whereas, as we've said before, a lot of people don't have anyone. We've got good family round about us. Unfortunately, I don't have, like, my parents, so we have, that's why I was saying we have the one set of grandparents.
Which again, we're lucky that we've got.
Yeah,
We've got
exactly.
3, which obviously with
Yeah.
my dad and my mum and my stepdad, so we have
Yeah.
3
Mm-hmm.
3 grandparents who are all very excited to be grandparents.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
And then we've also got a great granny as well.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Which
Got a great
is
granny.
very, very excited to have a 4th generation.
Mhm. Yeah. So that's all very. We've had that all the way through. So we've had good family support network, and well, we could get to friends. That's a good one. I have a good set of friends, and so does Cameron. Like, we both have good groups who are constantly checking in, constantly excited to get cuddles, very desperate for this boy to arrive. But then we've also had people who, what's the word? You think they're friends, and they're not. Also certain, I'm not going to say who, there's no point, they know who they are. Family members who have went down in my estimations. So, like, by things that are said or done, and it can't be undone or changed once they've said it.
Once it's done or said, that's you've always remember, unfortunately.
They've made their bed that way. So yeah, that's been interesting. And people who are friends who have come out the woodwork because you've all of a sudden became pregnant, and they want to know everything about your life and what you're doing, and
how a child's going to ruin your life of what you have.
Yeah, that's why we added pet hates into this one, into this, because there's so many things that people say, and we've already spoken about horror stories, so we don't need to go over that.
No.
But there's so many things that people don't think about, like what they're saying. We've spoke about weight, being one, but yeah, we were thinking about it the other day. We were sitting saying, God, like, what people come up with. But one thing that I personally didn't like was, I feel sick when people touch my stomach. I've just got to the brink of Cameron being able to touch, and this is the last trimester. It just makes me feel sick, and I hate when people don't ask. They just run up and grab. Do not do that to a mother. Like, that is the worst. The fright you give them for a start, like, they can deal with it if they're not pregnant, but Jesus, don't do that. Like, it's maybe other people will say the opposite, and they say, oh, that's lovely, but personally for me that's a no.
Yeah, well, I think you wouldn't just walk up and kiss somebody So why would
yeah.
you? Why would
Or
you
go
walk
up and
up?
grab their stomach, you know,
Why
like,
would you just walk up and grab someone?
yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
always ask if you're okay to touch a belly, touch a bump, feel if baby's kicking. You always ask.
I know that people like get excited, and I get that, but it's just no, that's a no from me.
Again, that's your feeling. Not everyone's like that.
Yeah.
Some people might like getting a bump touched.
Yeah. So, yeah. And obviously we've been speaking about like support networks round about you. People not making effort would be one. As well. Like that's because I'm quite, what's the word? Like a socially person. Like I'll do all the stuff first, and then people making that effort back seems to be difficult. I don't know.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then obviously, as I've said, wanting to know everything, and you're a bit like, well, that's you kind of just bothering now.
Yeah. I think if you're bothered the whole way through the pregnancy, then fair enough. But I think when you don't ask a question the whole way through pregnancy, and then when it comes to baby nearly coming out, and all of a sudden you want a cuddle.
Yeah, can't wait to see them.
You weren't concerned when we were going through all the rest of the stuff, so why are you concerned now?
Yep. Acting concerned
you
also.
Can't even ask how someone is, then
it's not.
I don't think you deserve to be asking later on in pregnancy.
No. Another one that we've came across kinda lately is people asking constantly about the name. That's your last surprise. You've got your gender, and you've got, like, I mean, people choose to keep that a secret sometimes to the end. That's entirely up to their discretion. But we chose to tell people that we were having a wee boy, and then we decided, as we said earlier, on a name pretty quickly. Lucky that we both agreed on it, quite happy. And people asking or trying to kind of be sneaky about it, like to find out the name, we didn't really kind of appreciate that part. So I know that people will be excited, and some people kind of just blurt it out, but we wanted that thing to be like the last thing to like introduce them to the world. For us, that's our wee surprise. So yeah, but like why are you not telling people the name? What does it matter? Well, it matters to us. Like it's something for us. Like, and I know people like to do that, keep it as well. Like, so yeah. No, didn't really like that one. Oh yeah. People just having an opinion, like, on everything that you do. Like,
yeah, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you shouldn't be doing this, shouldn't be eating that. Yeah,
I mean, God, like, telling you, like, oh, you can't be having coffee, or, yeah, like, if you're keeping it within the range, don't see why not you're having decaffeinated as well. Like, if it's not doing any harm to when you're going to your midwife appointments, etc., leave a person alone. It's nothing to do with you, what they're eating or what they're doing. Or, for example, people saying as well, like, breast is best. If that's what you want to do, that's your choice. That I'm not going to turn around and go, no, it's not. Like, why are you doing that? That our personal choice is bottle feeding, and there's pros and cons to everything. So breastfeeding for other people, bottle feeding for us, that's just how we're happy with it. Like, so
the biggest thing for us is we felt like it gives
Gives me a break.
Gives Stephanie a break. Gives me a chance to bond with the wee one and feed him. And during the nights when Stephanie's been up all night with him, I can give her a chance to have some sleep and go away. And obviously with me being 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off for work, I've got 2 whole weeks I could be at home where Stephanie could potentially be back at work, and I can get up. There's no reason why I've got 2 whole weeks to be at home where I can sleep through the day with the wee one, and while he's sleeping, and Stephanie could be working when she comes home. She could spend the time with the wee one, but I could still be getting up during the night rather than having to interrupt her and wake her up, and obviously the wee one to breastfeed. But again, that's our choice. That's not saying that your baby should be fed that way and dad can't interact with you if you're breastfeeding, but it's just our personal opinion.
Yeah, because then it puts, like, you know, any mum knows that your boobs are short anyway, so expressing is a lot of pressure as well. And if you're at work and dad runs out of milk, then you're trying to do this at work, you're trying to work. It's just not. And I know it's they say great bonding exercise, that's great, but not our personal choice. So, yeah. Try to think what everyone else has been asking or saying. Oh yeah. People telling you that, oh, it's not going to be like that when baby comes. Yes, we do know we're in for a gunk. We do know we're in for a big change. We are not experts. We're not expert parents. We are learning like everybody else. But
first time parents, just like everyone else.
But we don't appreciate people saying, like, you know, oh, you know, when that happens and that's going to stop, and telling you basically, excuse me, yeah, your life's done as soon as you have a child. Like, I think that's a horrible way to say to somebody, like, they're like, oh, you're having a baby, and then the next minute, yeah, your life's over. That's, you don't say that to first time parents. You just don't. Like, let them have their happy time. Let them have their bubble. They are going to work this out. We are going to be sitting with probably buying some matchsticks and trying to stick them in our eyes to keep open. But we know that. And, like, as I said, with me working with kids, I can give them back at the end of the day. They weren't mine. But, like, there's experience to the back of that. We've got good family and friends support network that we can ask.
I've got.
If we ask your opinion, give us it. Don't just fire out and say your life's over, because that doesn't. Yeah, we know that a child's probably gonna.
It's gonna be hard work. At the end of the day, I think like a lot of people say, oh, we used to like going travelling and going abroad and things like that. Well, you can't be doing that with baby. Well, that's our decision to make. And I know not everyone's lucky and maybe able to afford doing things like that, but if we can afford to, we can do it. Why can't you?
Yeah.
It's an experience for you. It's a new experience for you as a family. Family of 3 rather than just the 2 of you. Maybe you have to change your priorities to what things you do and where you go, but again, it's one thing we've never really been big drinkers, alcohol wise, so we're not really interested in going abroad to go to clubs and pubs. We'd rather go and see things and go to water parks and things like that, like more excitement and just enjoy places we go.
Yeah.
And that doesn't change with a wee one. It just means that you maybe have to plan slightly differently to the activities you're going to do.
Yeah. And we're not saying it's going to go that way. You're probably sitting going, nah, let them think that. But
that's it's for you to make that decision, and you to test these experiences and find out how it goes. You might do it once and come never doing that again.
Yeah.
But you might do it and it might be the best thing you've ever done.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the creating memories, and as we said as well last time, you're reliving your youth, you're reliving through you. Like things like that. That's one thing I always remember. Like my mum and dad, they had a rented house, and they loved life. Like we went on holidays. That's what I remember as a child. Like I remember all the good holidays. It might have been a caravan holiday, or it might have been whatever, but that's what I remember. Like making memories, having fun. No. Do you remember when mum and dad bought this house and we never did anything? No, like.
That was the same. Like I was lucky. I got to go abroad a few times with my mum and dad and my brother, but most of my holidays were spent with my grandparents in Oban.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like that was my summer holidays. Was at least 2, sometimes 3 weeks of that was Oban.
I think people put like a lot of pressure on themselves because that's one thing that people have asked is obviously maybe you've determined by what I've said, but about people saying about buying a house and all that. Well, that yes, if people have, great, that's fantastic, good for them. Like I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but back to what we were saying before, there are pros and cons to everything. And we obviously, as we said, we had got pregnant pretty quickly, so we decided to keep our rental property and keep going that way and keep our bills to what we know and not just jump and buy a house at the same time because we'd obviously recently just got married as well.
Job changes and things like that as well.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So we just did what fitted for us. Like people are saying, you won't have enough room in the house you're in, and I'm sitting thinking, you don't know, you've never seen my house.
We've 2 bedrooms, you only need 2 bedrooms.
We've got 2 bedrooms, and if we had 2 children, we could convert one of them into, like, you could break it into 2 because there's enough room. We wouldn't put ourselves in a position where we didn't feel like we could cope, like we could.
No, and I think the thing is, I'm not saying we won't ever buy, but just right now we're happy.
Quite happy, yeah.
We're lucky with the property we've got. We've got good landlords.
And
good neighbours. So we can't really complain with the fact that it's not ours, but again, you can do kind of what you want to an extent.
Yeah.
With obviously speaking to your landlords.
Yep. I couldn't imagine anything kind of like, fair enough, if people have done it, fine, that's their choice. But I couldn't imagine anything kind of worse in my mind, like just getting married and you've paid all that, and obviously we went through the COVID wedding, so we actually saved quite a lot of money on what so we managed to decorate like the house and buy new furniture, and then we did our mini moons when things got back up and running, and we were still to get the big win, as we said, but we got the big win, we've got a baby. So like all these adventures are kind of rolling into one, but I just couldn't imagine all that stress of buying a house and ripping it out, as well as being pregnant and things like that. It's not my idea of fun, but I suppose it'll never be fun, because when you see a house stripped to the bare, you're like, and all the money that it costs, but the ins and outs cost too. But we do learn from other people as well. Like, I've had people say to me, like, no, yous are quite right, like the way yous are doing things, yous are quite right, because at the end of the day, if I was to go back, I wouldn't buy again. So you've got the 2 sides where we kind of were like, right, okay. So yeah, it was all kind of about kind of the wee man growing up and just making memories, really. He's not going to care where he is as long as he's warm, he's fed, he's got his bed, he's got a loving family. So that's all you're needing. It doesn't matter at the end of the day, what you've got over your head, as long as you've got something over your head, some people don't even have that, and really struggle. So we're lucky.
No, definitely.
Definitely lucky. And obviously, as we said, like having the two incomes as well. Like a lot of people don't have that. Like, you know, so that's a huge like cover compared to what people do have. So we can definitely be thankful in that way. Let me see, what else do we have? People constantly tell me I look tired or pale. Yes, I do. Because, oh my God, I'm growing a frickin' human, would you believe it? So, yeah, it's not very nice when you see somebody at the supermarket, oh, you're looking tired. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I am. And I'm going to look even well worse. So, I wonder what opinion you'll have then. And I'm always quite pale. I could go abroad and stick baby oil in my body and I still don't tan. It's so unfair. So yeah, that's not really a change to me. People asking me if I'm still pregnant. Now, for goodness sakes, yes. Like, you can see that.
I think when pregnancy lasts for 9 and a bit months,
basically 10,
and you're only about 8 months through, and there's not been any pictures of baby, I probably think that, yeah, you're probably still pregnant.
Because everybody probably can tell that I'm a social media person. So, yeah. And then, kind of the last thing that we had said, that people were saying about as well, talking to you about your second child before you get your first one out. I mean, come on, guys. Come on. I know there's not much topic of conversation sometimes to do with like COVID and things, but my God, let us get through this bubble first. Let us have the first one first, and then we'll tell you. But yeah, I mean, Cameron had asked myself the other night about like what was it like for you growing up, and then I was asking him because Cameron's got a brother, like things like that. Like obviously you would speak about like siblings and stuff, but I don't know. I'm quite a person who I'm quite social, but I'm quite a person who can kind of sit in my own company and...
Yeah, you can deal with your own company quite easily.
Yeah. But, like, I never had any problems kind of sharing and stuff like that, and... Yeah. No. And then we had said about... obviously there's a 6-year gap between you and your brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think obviously I've had differences over the years, but we're still very close. We've always kind of been there for each other.
Yeah. I mean, I've got 2 years between my siblings, like each, my sister and my brother. But yeah, I don't know. You just have to see how.
I think it all depends, like, as well, with obviously what happens in the future. You might go to try and have a baby again, and
you don't know.
Might say no, like, or when we have openly spoke before we got married and things like that about adoption and things like that, and we both said that we would definitely consider it if at first we couldn't have a child, and also if maybe in the future we still thought that we wanted another child, we might even consider adopting. Yeah,
because I mean it's such a, I know through family's personal experiences, adoption is a hard process, and also, as we spoke about the other day, IVF. I take my hat off to women, because and the hell on earth that they go through with that, my God. So yeah, because you don't know. We were sitting saying like, what if that's like, what if that's us? Like,
Yeah.
Like wait. So yeah, people can have their opinions and stuff like that, but or what they want to say, but they need to also think if that was said to them or their daughter, or or somebody, like as they said, they can't have children. It's not a nice thing to do or say to somebody. But yeah, we were trying to think of when we get asked about all the pet hates. So yeah, but it is thinking about things.
I think it's thinking more of what you're going to say
Yeah.
to people. Think before you say it, because you don't know how that might come across, and obviously how the mother or parents will take that question, because
I'm an angry bear.
again, pregnancy puts a lot of hormones through mum's body, and obviously dad can also be very protective of mum as well, so
yeah,
it's it can frustrate and anger a lot of people. But I think as well, obviously, as we're talking to other sport networks as well.
Yeah, like it's making you like see things definitely differently, because here we go again with the mother-in-law. She would be happy at me saying this anyway. If I've taken something and say I've got quite upset about it, she'd be like, well, wait a minute, what about this?
Yeah, look at it from this point of view.
Yeah, and then even saying to the likes of yourself, like how people take things differently to what you do, and then you go, oh well, yeah, I didn't really think about it like that. But even sometimes you could come back and say, oh yeah, I would have taken that way as well.
Yeah.
That's not great. So yeah, see, to be honest, I would say, just to kind of round this video up, but I would say, if you want to say something and you feel like somebody's been inappropriate towards you, or yes, you could maybe turn it round and ask them how they meant that. But I would like say what you want to say, obviously, rather than keeping it all in here.
Yeah, let it out rather than.
I did quite a bit of that with things and kept it in, and it ain't good for you. It's just. So you're probably better to say or ask, or yeah. So that'll be that wee video rounded up, and then we'll get on to our next one. So